Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's new English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV screen to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well let's learn English together. Hello, hello, and hello once again to the gods of English out there in Hungarian TV land. How are you today? Well, I hope you're feeling fantastic because it's day 2 of week 10. It's lesson number 47, the 47th lesson in M5's English learning program, Let's Speak English. And we're back in the studio, back here in front of the camera, back here in the limelight to have a look at what we learned in weeks 6 to 9. That's right, my friends. This week we're revising what we learned in weeks 6 to 9. Yesterday we revised what? Come on, you all remember, all of you. That's right. Yesterday we looked at using verbs in the present simple tense. We checked what we know about the present simple tense. We use the present simple tense for things which are always true or which don't change. My name, for example. I'm Gav Duncan. My name doesn't change. Or where I live. I live in Budapest. Or we can use the present simple tense to talk about facts. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, what else did you remember from the last lesson? That's right, we revised where we have to be careful with the present simple tense. Where do we have to be careful? Correct. With the present simple tense, the spelling of the verb changes in the third person singular. And what is the third person singular when it's at home? That's right. The third person singular is he, she, or it. So, when we make a sentence using the present simple tense, we have to make sure that we change the spelling of the verb for the third person singular, for he, she, and it. We also looked at the spelling rules we know. Now, when we think about the spelling changes for verbs in the present simple tense, what do we have to concentrate on? Bingo! Well done! In the present simple tense, when we're using the third person singular, the first place we have to concentrate on is connected to vowels and consonants. Do you remember which letters are vowels? Of course you do. You're gods of English. You're better than the Jackson 5. Okay, so the vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. And the consonants? Well, that's easy. The consonants are the alphabet minus the vowels. B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so what's the rule we have to remember about verbs, the present simple tense, the third person singular, and vowels and consonants? Well, if the verb ends in vowel plus Y, then in the third person singular, we add an S to the end of the verb, like this. Let's look at the verb to buy. I buy, you buy, he, she, it buys. We buy, you buy, they buy. Okay, good. Now what if the verb ends in consonant plus Y? Then what happens in the third person singular? Well, if the verb ends in consonant plus Y, in the present simple tense, in the third person singular, he, she, it, we replace the Y with IES, like this. I fly, you fly, he flies, she flies, it flies. We fly, you fly, they fly. So, now we can see two different spelling changes. With most verbs, we add an S to the third person singular in the present simple tense. But if the verb ends in consonant plus Y, we change the Y to IES. Okay, so far so good. So far so groovy. But what about our old friends, the irregular verbs? What happens to the spelling of the third person singular of an irregular verb in the present simple? Well, let's look at an irregular verb, the verb to do. Because verbs like do and go are irregular, in the third person singular, the spelling changes by adding ES, like this. I go, you go, he goes, she goes, it goes, we go, you go, they go. The verb to go is irregular. The verb to do is irregular. If the verb ends in SS or X or CH or SH or O, then it's an irregular verb. If it's an irregular verb, then we know that in the present simple tense, the third person singular adds ES. Brilliant! Banana, braces, buckle, brain, bing, bing, bong. And on we go. Now, also in week 6, we looked at daily routine. We looked at my daily routine. Do you remember my daily routine? Think back. Concentrate. Feel the power of the gods of English. Week 6, lesson 27. Week 6, lesson 27. I wake up at 7:45. I get up at 8 o'clock. I have a shower. In the shower, I wash myself. I wash my face, my armpits, my torso, my legs, my knees, my feet, and everything else. Then I shave. After my shower, I dry myself with a towel and brush my teeth. Then I put on some antiperspirant. I don't comb or brush my hair, I just put some gel in my hair. When my hair is perfect, I get dressed. I put on my socks and pants, and then I put on my jeans and a t-shirt. If I'm cold, I put on a sweatshirt or a jumper. When I'm dressed, I make breakfast. I cook eggs for breakfast. My wife, Evie, likes fried eggs. I like omelettes. We drink coffee and mineral water for breakfast. I like sparkling mineral water, water with bubbles. Evie likes still mineral water, water without bubbles. After breakfast, I wash up the dishes. Then we start work. And we're back. Do you remember what we learned next? That's right. We learned how to make a negative sentence using the present simple tense. How do we make negatives with the present simple tense? Well, I'm sure you all remember. But let me tell you once again, to make a present simple sentence negative, we need to use don't or doesn't. We use the negative version of the verb to do when we want to make a present simple negative sentence. We use don't or doesn't and then add the verb in the infinitive. I like pizza is a positive present simple sentence. To make the sentence negative, we add the negative part of the verb to do, don't for the first person singular, and then add the verb. So, I like pizza becomes I don't like pizza. Simple. If the sentence uses I, or you, or we, or you, or they, we use don't plus the verb to make the negative version. If the sentence uses the third person singular, then we use doesn't to make the negative version. She likes pizza becomes she doesn't like pizza. Now, there's something else about negative sentences using the present simple, isn't there? That's right. We have to be careful that we use the infinitive after don't or doesn't. In a negative sentence, the third person singular doesn't change. The change is in the doesn't part, so we don't need to change the third person singular part. When we make a negative sentence for the third person singular, we don't add anything to the verb. We just use doesn't and then add the infinitive. Would you like to see that in a table? I bet you would. Think of the table from lesson 27. Think hard. Concentrate, concentrate. And we're back. Great. So now we know how to make positive and negative sentences with verbs in the present simple tense. Groovy. We know that we have to be careful with the spelling of the third person singular when we make a positive sentence with the present simple tense. When we make a negative sentence, we also have to be careful not to change the spelling of the main verb. It's don't, do not, plus the infinitive for most forms, I, you, we, you and they, and doesn't, does not, for the third person singular, he, she and it. Then all we have to do is add the infinitive of the verb. Sit, cook, eat, speak. In week 6, we also looked at how to make a question using the present simple tense. When we make a question in the present simple, we also use the verb do, just like when we make a negative in the present simple. When we make a question in the present simple, we use do or does, add the subject, I, you, Alfredo, Dave, and then add the infinitive, read, watch, play, so we can ask, does Alfredo work in a bank? We start with the correct form of the verb do. I do, you do, he, she, it does. Then we add the subject. In this sentence, the subject is Alfredo, and then we add the infinitive, work. Simple. Would you like to see that in a table? I think it's a pretty good idea. Do you remember the table from lesson 27? Think back, think back. It was lesson 27 in week 6. And we're back. Okay, so as we can see, we use do for I, you, we, you, and they. And we use does for the third person singular, he, she, and it. Now, what else did we learn in the past few weeks? Well, after we learned about the present simple tense, the positive form, the negative form, and the question form, we looked at occupations and jobs. And that's where we're going to pick up next lesson. Yes, I'm afraid we've run out of time. That's all the time we've got for today's lesson. Next lesson, we'll start with the jobs and occupations, I promise. Okay, Well, in case you'd forgotten, you have been watching M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan. I'm not Eddie Kidd, and I don't own a flared white jumpsuit like Evel Knievel. I'm Gav Duncan, and I'll see you next lesson for some more English revision. Farewell for the moment, gods of English! See you later. Bye.